Hello, hello, and welcome. This is, of course, as you can see, your host with the most, King Damian Michael Williams, and you are watching another episode of Working It Out with Damian Michael. Tonight, I'm so excited. I've been excited for the last couple of weeks about our guest tonight. But before I get into all of that, to our viewers, how are you doing out there? I know it's rough, but are you holding on? Are you keeping the faith? Are you keeping your push? One of the things that we should always realize that with each breath, that's a golden opportunity to move forward and to continue to create and make our dreams happen. I know it's rough. The odds are high, but we all yet have the power to defeat the odds. No one can stop you. So just take a moment right now. With me, close your eyes. Inhale, exhale. And say this with me. All is well. So now, I want to talk a little bit about our guests and about the show that we're having tonight. Of course, our main focus is African American LGBTQ plus and mental health and mental wellness, of course. But within that realm, we love to talk about and bring to the table those subjects that are either ignored or just simply pushed to the side. Today, I have a dynamic guest who is, to me and to many, well-renowned person, public figure on TikTok and also on Instagram. And I'm just so honored and pleased. The first time I saw one of her videos, I was like, who is this sister? But this queen, that's not just a mouth, that's a torch for truth and life. And she puts it down so real, and I was just enamored by it. I was just taken by it. I said, okay. So, of course, you see one video, then you want to go along and check out some more and see what else does she have to say. And it was an honor to see a sister, a queen, African American queen, speaking truth in the dynamic ways that she does. It could be comical, and sometimes she can just come right down your aisle and just read all your tea. She goes by the name of, on TikTok, The Amazing D253. And I would like to bring her on because she is just so dynamic. D!
Hey, cousins!
Cousin! Hey, cousin!
Now, you know I get so tired, honey.
Hey, take a sip because, I'm about to right now. Mm-hmm. Make sure my throat, make sure we all right.
Look, you got to wet that whistle. You got to wet the horn.
Hey, make sure it's properly lubricated. I'm just saying. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you? Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
We're honored. I mean, you're the superstar here. Hey, we're just doing our job, letting another part of the world.
Now you see the afro getting bigger.
Hey, boom, get it? You got your afro, I got my lock crown. Hey, how you doing? We in there, fight the power.
Get into it.
Hey, get all into this, baby. This is what you want. But I mean, when I saw your videos, D, and also my great and amazing producer, Andre Fields, shared some of your videos with me as well on TikTok.
Okay.
And we both were like, who is this woman? I mean, we cracked up. We had you had other videos that we were like, showing up. You right, sister girl. But I mean, it was just so down the lane. And of course, honestly, I must say, as my viewers know, I'm quite direct myself. I know many people think I'm just soft as a rose petal, as a chocolate rose petal. But yeah, some days it's like, no, boom. And I appreciate, because honestly, there's not many people like us
Not at all.
that will defy the odds and speak truth to power
Absolutely.
and expose things and peel off some band-aids that of issues that need to be, handled,
Right.
confronted.
Right. And there's just so many layers, and especially in the African American community, there's so many layers that we need to peel. I mean, we've been, especially with Black women, we've been subjugated to these three stereotypes for so long: the Sapphire, the
Right.
Mamie, the Jezebel. And I don't fit into any of those categories. I'm
Right.
the weird Black girl that likes anime. I love video games. I
Yes,
like,
anime.
you
Me
know,
too. Yes.
I like, watching my old school shows that my grandmother made me stay in the house when I was running in and out, in the heat of the
Yes.
night.
Yes.
I'm just that person. I'm just that personality. And I didn't fit into any of those three categories. So if you're going to be dynamic, be dynamic.
Please, by all means, I mean, I'm the type of person where people have said, you're just too much, or I can't take you, or I wasn't ready for that. I'm like, but how is it that you say that you serve a God of truth or you live in truth, but yet you consistently live a lie? How does that
Right.
work? So, and then when somebody like us comes along and just goes, here you go. And I'm like, oh, I'm like, no, but it's been right there. I know it's a big white elephant and everybody tries their best to ignore it. But yeah, this is what this is. But before we go into it, because we're going to go there, and I'm so glad you're here because I want to go there with you, D.
Absolutely.
So let our viewers know, who is D? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
D is the amazing D253. What you see is what you get. For the longest time, I come from poverty. I have the distinct pleasure of being raised in country poverty and actual inner city poverty. So I'm well traveled.
Right.
And
have
for
little notches on your belt, huh?
Absolutely. Right. So all them stamps in my passport.
Hey,
but I was so confined. If you met me even as a teenager, I would not have been the same D, because I was always told, like you said, I was always told that I was too much. I need to dial it down, or, I've never been comfortable. And the mainstay was I was never comfortable in my Blackness, because as a child, even within my own biological family, I've been conditioned to think that there was something wrong with me. Oh, you don't listen to, R&B on a regular basis. You listen to rock music. There's something wrong with you. Oh, you like to read. Oh, there's something wrong with you. You know what I'm saying? So
wow,
it has been a complete journey finding D253. And I don't think I actually even met D253 until I moved to the 253, and broke out of all of those comfort zones that I was in. I was actually comforted by the abuse. I was comforted by being told that I wasn't going to amount to anything. And I stayed within those comfort zones for the longest time. And when I got out into the world and those comfort zones were no longer available, I had to rebirth, honey. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I totally understand. Because how is it that you can break into your truth while yet still living around fake people? That it doesn't mix.
And the sad thing is it came from these people that you're told, your mother, your father, your grandpa, these people that are supposed to guide you and
influential in your life.
Exactly. Right. Be influential in you finding that truth. And they don't want anything to do with it. They want you to be the truth that they envision for you.
Yes.
To make themselves feel comfortable. Now, if I was to go around my biological family, you're going to be uncomfortable all day, because let me tell you something. You let the cat out of the bag and she's not going back in. That
part. Because I'm here to tell you, I'll never forget my mother said, I just, because I was sharing with her my truth, and it took her years to finally embrace it. But I'll never forget, we were having a discussion and she said, you know what? I had so many dreams and aspirations and desires for you. And I just saw you going to college and meeting a nice young lady while you're in there. And then as soon as y'all graduate, y'all get married and have me some grandchildren. I busted up laughing in her face. I said,
news
honey,
for her.
as gay as I am, I'm like, did you foresee a husband? Did you see a husband? I want me a husband. Did you see one? You know, I'm just saying. I just want to know, you know, if
that
you
husband she saw was, you know, you getting that husband. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, right. You know, and but you're so right. You know, I say that to say that you're so on point because our parents, of course, as any parent, you have desires and wishes for your child. You want the greatest for them. However, parents always forget they lived a life before they had that child or children.
Absolutely.
They were doing their own thing. And yes, of course, you take on a whole new mindset when you become a parent. But also, you have to realize in life and that cycle of life, that's that point where you have to let go.
Absolutely.
And that's one of the hardest things for us as not only African American people, but also LGBTQ African American people. We're like sponges, we hold things.
Right.
Any experiences that happened back when we was 5 years old, we're 55 and still holding it. We haven't detoxed. We haven't embraced the truth of everything and been able to, and taken the time to break it down for mental health. You know, a lot of people walking around here, especially us as African American LGBTQ plus folk, we walk around here certified in nuts. And don't
Absolutely.
know.
And I can tell you right now, I am a gold medal Olympic holder. I'm still holding grudges from stuff that happened when I was like 4. I was talking to my brother the other day and I'm like, you remember when you almost cut my finger off? I'm still so sore about that. So
in your feelings about it. Like, I don't appreciate when you had did that.
I don't appreciate none of it. But that's the thing. And like, I'm a mother myself, you know, I'm a mother to a teenage a teenage, I still say daughter. She's actually is non-binary, but I told her, give me some time because I've been saying daughter for almost 16 years. So you have to give me some time.
It's a little process.
Yeah. I'm actually a mother to a binary 16-year-old child. And
awesome.
Even though I'm immersed in the LGBT community, after I moved out of, you know, the toxic situation that was my life and came into this brand new family, I built my family from the ground up, and it was all LGBT, all Black, you know, all races, you know, but primarily, you know,
right. We embrace.
It was still hard when my daughter, because I always told her, I was like, you never have to come out to me. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's still kind of hard to let things go, you know, because you're holding on to a person that you've created in your head, you know, of who your child, of who you want your child to be, the, you know, the gender, the roles. I'm letting go.
Your baby.
Absolutely. You know, I'm letting go. It's a work in process. It's still hard to let some of those things go, but I'm here to tell any parent that's struggling with a child that's a part of the LGBT community, or even a child that identifies as a baby pit bull. It is the most beautiful thing that you will ever be able to see, to watch your child come into themselves. Because let me tell you, Mr. President, if you think I'm a reader, try going and speaking with a child who already knows who they are and who they want to be, and already knows they know they can walk into their purpose without holding their breath about it. And if you think I can read, child, let me tell you.
Baby girl got it on us. The apple don't fall far from the tree.
I had to be saying, like, wait a minute, who raised you?
Who child is you?
But it's the most beautiful process that I've ever experienced. And I almost feel everything that I went through in life, everyone, I had this question on TikTok. They were like, you know, what would you tell your 18-year-old self? I would tell my 18-year-old self not a darn thing, nothing. I would tell her nothing. I would let her go and I would let her make these mistakes. I would let her learn these lessons because everything that 18-year-old girl went through up until now has made me the person that I am. And I have the distinct honor of watching someone walk into their truth without boundaries. So
beautiful. That's a beautiful experience. That's I mean, and as much of a process as it is for you to let go,
right?
You will soon be able to find freedom in that. Once you fully do that, there'll be a freedom in that because not only will it be a freedom for your child, but also for you. So
Absolutely.
On both sides, because even still, the both of you are connected, heart, soul, mind, and spirit. So I think that's just, we commend you and applaud you for that, for that confession. Trust me, it takes real people, a person who finally comes up to that level of confession and affirmation to say, yes, this is where I am right now.
Right. And I mean, and I also it also takes you being honest with yourself.
True.
And once I had that conversation with myself, because I have been taking her to prides since she was 2 years old. And I'm, this is what you do. You accept people for who they are. You love people for who they are. You don't have conditions on it. But then when I was approached with the situation, it was like one of those things where you have these fake allies, like the fake allies with the BLM movement now. I stand with you. I'm going to be with you until it starts affecting my stuff. Then I'm going to have to back away a little bit.
Right.
Now, I had to have that same honest conversation with myself, even though I have had same-sex relationships. I've been in same-sex relationships. When it came to my house, I was like, let me step back and let me take a weekend and really evaluate myself and really think about it.
Right. I want to go here, if I may, and I want to ask you, what are your thoughts on the stigma of the Black, gay, and bisexual woman? What are the stigmas that you know of that still exist?
The stigmas that I honestly, I don't delve into those stigmas. I don't, you know what I'm saying? I don't. I honestly have never been, unfortunately, I've never been met with any of those stigmas. Now, I've been met with a lot of misogyny. I had this one dude make this joke. He was like, you know what they say about all bisexual women? And I'm like, what? And, they always come back to the meat eventually. And I'm just like, well, okay.
Yeah. Misogyny and stigma. It's just like, that's when they are both combined. It's just like, really, sir? Really? Is that all you can come up with?
Exactly. Is that the best you got?
Right.
But I think because I've never really, once I found my family, I didn't leave that sector, and I'm such a presence. I'm such an alpha female. I don't get approached very often with it. You know what I'm saying? Any kind of stigma. So I've dated, cis women. My last relationship was a transgendered woman, so once I become that light and I walk into that room and I turn that light on, it's just like everybody just kind of shuts down. It would be kind of refreshing to have somebody to oppose what I do and who I do, but it's just not going to happen.
Right. So, hey, and you're affirmed in your truth, and that's where you stand with it, because you have to do what's best for you and your mental wellness.
Exactly. So as far as stigma goes, I never really had to experience any, stigmas or backlash. Luckily, I am living in the time that we're living in, so it's just everybody's kind of free and open with everything. Not saying it doesn't exist, because it most definitely does, but I just don't subscribe to the literature. The minute I'm approached with it, no, absolutely not. No, because the minute, you know what I'm saying, I'm approached with it, or what, first of all, you're not going to have me questioning myself after I've went through hell and back. You're not fixing to have me questioning myself again. Like, we're not going to do that. I got to
take a sip on that one. Hold on.
So I just don't subscribe to it.
That's awesome. Right. Somebody said preach. Because I mean you just broke bread right there. You gave a word. Amen. And all that good stuff. So
That
I
passed
want to
around the
ask you,
offering plate. Like
right, put the money in the pan, praise the Lord, all that good stuff. But I want to ask you this. Where are we now as the African American LGBTQ plus community as far as where we are in the world? Where's our mindset? What have you seen?
I have seen us make some amazing strides since, Miss Marsha P. Johnson. Amazing. I
Yeah,
have, it's crazy because
Marsha.
yes, give it up for the queen, honey. Um
Yay! Cheers on that
it's
one.
it's it's amazing. I had someone who I was very close to who got to experience the arc of not only the civil rights movement but Stonewall, and
Yeah.
where we are now.
Mm-hmm.
It's still a veil of oppression. However, we have a lot more opportunity to break that oppression. And
Right.
I think we have come leaps and bounds. And I think the sector that is opposing, and this is, I just year after year I've consistently seen it shrink and get smaller. The religious freaks, for lack of a
Right.
better word. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Them.
Like
Yeah.
I see them getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And I honestly, I'm gonna give it up for Generation Z, because those kids, you can say what you want about those kids, but
Right.
those kids being raised by us individuals who were born into trauma, you know
Right.
what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like,
Plenty
and
of it.
yeah, but born into trauma and just do not want that for our children, or did not want that for our children when we were having our children. I
Mm-hmm.
think that little component right there, those kids are amazing. I
Oh yeah.
mean, they're protesting, you know what I'm saying? They're intelligent. Like, and a perfect example is my daughter. My daughter was standing beside me during the Black Lives Matter protest.
Right.
And I got a lot of flack for that, but I could not leave her home, even if I wanted to.
Right.
She was like, no, absolutely not. This is the world that I'm going to be raised in.
Yeah.
So therefore, I have a say in what happens in it. So I'm
True.
going. You know what I'm saying? And like,
I tell
it was just,
yeah. You did right by your child. You did right by, yeah. Yes, you did.
But we have to give our props to the generation behind us. And we have to give ourselves props, because I feel as if we set the precedence of what we're just not willing to accept anymore.
Right.
We're not willing to accept the Matthew Shepherds. We're not willing to accept the Trayvon Martins. And even though our voices are a little bit more silent, because we want to go ahead and give that platform for our babies behind us to speak.
Right.
I think it's amazing. And when I think about where we are versus where we came from,
True.
I would go through it again. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's amazing to see. And I think we are in an amazing spot now. We have so much opportunity to change so many things and
True.
shrink the oppression, and like open up people's minds about it. And
I will concur with you, because Generation Z, as we call them, they are the generation that is breaking forth and breaking barriers to the stigmas that we were raised in.
absolutely.
Especially coming from a heavily religious background.
Right.
I was, basically, especially when everybody found out, even my grandmother, when she was alive. Oh, when we had our assumptions, but now that we know, how can we call and ask him to pray, knowing he living the way he living? I said, that's very strange, because beforehand, when you would call and ask for prayers or any type of assistance, it worked. Now that you know that I'm same-gender loving, everything is going to hell in the handbasket. I'm like,
can we just have that conversation about why the gay choir director was okay?
Oh, he good for business, right. Oh, we ain't gonna play nobody in, so.
But that's the thing. We come from that generation to where the most dangerous thing, and we as not only Black people, as adults, need to realize that the most dangerous narrative that we can put out there is, oh, well, children are to be seen and not heard. This is how you get the children that are victims of sexual abuse. This is how you get the children who won't say anything about their abusers. This is how you get children who are kids, because they're supposed to be seen or not heard. Let me tell you something. That was the first thing. No, soon as I pushed my kid out, that was the first thing I got out of my head is my child is to be seen and not heard. Are you kidding me?
Right.
I was seen and not heard, and I ended up being molested multiple times. I was seen and not heard, and my mother ended up breaking my collarbone. Wow. I was seen and not heard, and CPS was called on my mother over 9 times. And that's what you get with children are to be seen and not heard. No, you need to have them, encourage them to open their mouth and speak, because that's how they're going to develop and walk in who they are.
Yes. So true. I was, and I shared this on the last episode of Working It Out. And being that at that time, of course, being raised in fear more than love. Love was, to them, it had limits and guidelines. We love you as long as you're this. We love you as long as you're straight. Absolutely. We love you as long as you're doing the American dream. I'm like, sweet America, even though we created and birth America, but America wasn't intended for us.
Absolutely not. No.
So on that one.
What is this dream that everybody is talking about?
Right. I'm like, ooh. Especially when we're watching, those of us who watch, the news stations and all of those things, and we have to take back the American dream, sweetie. That was never intended for us.
It was never ours. We were private contractors. Okay, so that White House, we
were snatch, yanked, and pulled.
That was a White House.
Do it or we kill you.
Exactly.
And it was just like, so none of this dream was for us.
No, it didn't belong to us.
We have to create our world, and make it that, and stand in it. If we don't, we'll continually be on this flow of how the impeachment happened.
Right. Oh my gosh.
Even though we are used to seeing, and our ancestors are used to seeing, white folk get off at any point, no matter what they did.
Can I just say, I have never heard of anybody being fired twice and still kept their job.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I need to take a step on that
because look, let me tell you something. My job was to tell me that I was fired right now. All my stuff gonna be packed up.
Like, thank you for your services rendered. We just gotta go in a new direction.
Your check is in the mail.
Right. And we will ship your stuff. So
let me tell you, I'm going to be honest. I watched very little of the impeachment trials, because even though there was that little strand of hope, I kind of knew.
Right. We all did.
How it was going to turn out.
Honestly.
We haven't held this man accountable for 4 years.
Literally.
And, his cult, because I refuse to call them followers, his cult, because there's no way this man, I've never met a person, and at first when he was first coming out and he was first acting a fool, I'm going to admit, I was just like, look, let me tell you something. I got to give him his props, because we can't get on there and act like that. Everybody, when he said, grab women by the, we all know the phrase.
Uh-huh.
I was like, do you know if Obama had said that, they would have dragged him out and beat him in the street? His wig.
Did you hear
and
me?
Like, at first I was like, oh, okay, good job for getting on here and saying what you want to say without, what I'm saying, without any, the feeling of consequences or anything like that. But then it kept going. And then you have to realize that other countries are looking at us.
Oh, yeah.
And
here's the thing with that right there, what you just said, and I've been telling people this, even the younger generation. I said, baby,
right.
we've been the end and the blunt end of a punchline to other countries for years.
For years. And how dare you sit there and push that narrative that we are that was pushed for so long, that we are Big Brother and we go and we put boots in people's butts when we need to. And then you give us a clown show, a complete circus.
Thank you.
Like this. For free.
I mean, it just, I promise you, first of all, when Captain Orange got into office, I kept telling people, pinch me, because I don't see how a clown got into office. How did that work? I know he's white, I get it, but how does that work? This right here, and then when he was just going and signing and flipping everything, because he was just so on this, as he still is, about Obama. I'm like, bruh, you're the president now. Get over it, bruh.
The thing about it is looking at him and seeing him, because that first meeting that he did with Obama, it was so amazing, because you could tell that he got a job he wasn't even really wanting. That part. And we done all got them jobs before, you know what I'm saying? Well, I'm gonna apply here because it's a check.
Like, how did I get here?
Right. And then when you get the job, you sitting there like, I guess I better get in here and work, because
I guess I better get up and do this thing. I guess so. Okay.
But you could tell when that first meeting, when President Obama did the meeting of exchanging of power. Right. I was like, this man doesn't want to be here almost as much as we don't want him here. And he is going to get in this office. Not only is he going to make us the laughing stock, he is going to divide us. And it is going to be nothing but chaos. And I hate it when I predict it, and it's right.
I've had plenty of people call me back because I kept saying he is the spirit of the Antichrist.
Absolutely.
And people called me back and they was like, oh my God, you were right. I said, yeah. I said, do you see all these people just fighting and beating each other and killing each other just for no reason at all? Even though we did it, it was already up to a certain degree. But this right here is a whole new level.
It was just another level. All the passion. You know, you go up and you tell a Trump supporter, like, well, I really don't support Trump. Like, it was, I mean, you almost had to worry about being shot or stabbed, or some form of violence, because they were, you know, it was like they were, they were wanderlusted, like there was some type of spell put over them. You know what I'm saying? Because they were ready to ride hard for him, and what you like, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like, dude, calm down. Like,
he's your president. I'm like, no, but he's your president. Try that. You don't want this.
Like, I need you to calm down. Like, you know what I'm saying?
You're at a 10. I need you at a -0.
Oh my goodness. Like,
right.
But yeah, it was so deafening, and it was so scary to like see. I mean, and I'm a pretty passionate person, but it was just to the point. I mean, 3 months ago, we were afraid as Black people to leave our house. I've never had that happen. And I've been voting since I was 18 years old. And I've never, ever gotten warnings. Be careful leaving your house.
Yeah. I mean, but even though as African-American people, we're constantly on the watch. Because we don't know who's watching us.
We have to be.
Always on alert. And it's like, yeah, you know, I'm like, yeah, it's 9:59, all's well. You know, it's like, what? You know, but that whole experience, especially when he planted another seed of saying, you know, oh, they're doing, you know, untrustworthy things for the voting process and all of those things. And I said, oh, okay, so you planted this bomb. You're trying to start stuff.
And all the while, your kids is out here embezzling money.
Left and right.
Embezzling money left and right. And I'm so sorry. I'm still convinced that Ivanka, even though her companies and everything was losing what do you call it? They were losing money and losing credibility. How did you come out of this presidency as the daughter of the president and you made more money than possibly your father? Let's talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
because your businesses were failing like his.
because I bought your purse for $1, and it was at Ross. So you're not
That
fixing
part.
to.
Oh yeah,
What you
yeah.
not
Good old
fixing to
Ross
do?
best for less. Hey,
Yeah, absolutely. You're
I
not
tell
fixing
you.
to sit here and tell me.
That part, so between his daughter and her husband, which I just loathe his existence, as well as Captain Orange, I just like ugh. And what bothered me is that the governor here in California, Governor Newsom, was going to them for more money, and yeah, his daughter's husband, I don't even like to call his name, told him, because it's a documentary on Hulu called Everything's Under Control. When I tell you, and I strongly advise everybody to watch it, it's on Hulu. When I tell you they spilled all tea, and all the people that he fired, they're on there. Yeah, spilling all tea. And they told our governor, yeah, you can have more money, but what you have to do is call directly to Captain Orange and then thank him, on national TV. And that's exactly what he did. I'm like, okay, yeah, I got to rub my chest because them cuss words was right there. It was just like, oh, mercy. But I mean, it's just like, it blew me away. It blew me away. I said, the nerve. I said, when you do things like, we forget. And let me calm down because that kind of got me rowdy.
Take a sip.
Well, right. Let me have a little Johnny Walker. Mm-hmm.
But the thing about it is this the shocking and sad thing about this whole thing. I mean, even with Russia, are you really shocked?
No, I mean,
and it's bad because I've almost become numb to it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's truth. That's real talk, because I mean, we don't realize that everything that we do is a seed planted. So when Governor Newsom did that, I'm like, you opened up doorways for us to be attacked over here.
Absolutely.
So I'm like, bruh, no, I'm not cool with that at all.
He sold his soul. Not only did he sell his soul, he sold you guys' soul to the devil as well.
Basically.
Meanwhile,
yeah.
the governor of my state, beautiful state of Washington, was in a pissing contest with him. So
like, I got longer strings. Well, right, yeah. Right. But I mean, like, I can reach father, player. But it's just like, really, people? We're giving this man time, literally.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, this man got all kinds of power, and the thing about it is he didn't even have to ask for it. That is the definition of a real pimp.
Yeah, because I'm about to say whip, but hey, because
he got in office and pimped everybody. We was all his hoes. You know what I'm saying?
Pimping ain't easy.
Because how could you get out of office? Mm-hmm. And nothing is, of course, on our side, I tend to say blue side, but how could you get out of office and nobody is questioning anything? We have these little impeachment trials where everybody knew the outcome, but nobody is questioning anything. Yeah. But that's okay. He came out of the impeachment trials. I'm looking for New York and Georgia to come after him now.
I was just about to say New York, because baby girl in New York has been waiting for that end. She's like,
absolutely, yeah.
I'm waiting for you at the door.
Well, and I think that was my coming home. When New York was like, okay, we're cutting all financial ties with him. I'm like, your home state tells you
we don't want you no more.
It's a
we don't teach you no more. Yeah, it's cut off, clean cut.
Absolutely. And I made it a petty post because I love petty posts.
Well, petty is so much fun.
I made a petty post, on my TikTok, and it was this guy, he had used, and this is the thing about TikTok, it's like they make all these Trump posts and they always use a Black artist And I'm like, I don't even understand that sentence structure, but okay. So he made this, happy-go-lucky post of, oh, the 45th president, Trump got acquitted. And my comeback was, well, baby, so did OJ.
I mean, I tell you, when I
And then
saw
he
that
blocked
post,
me.
I was like, "Where's the lie?" That part.
Like,
If we gonna talk about it, let's talk about it.
And it's like, you are celebrating this acquittal, but Georgia's coming after him. His own home state is coming after him, and then like I can't think of the top of my head.
And other states are coming
exactly.
after him. Yeah.
Other states are coming after. This is not over. And even though you won this little tiny victory, there's still a whole war out there. He's not. You can't do wrong and get by. You just can't.
It's a word that you used earlier. Hope. Out of hope, a lot of us were looking forward to them waiting for him as soon as he was coming out of the White House.
Right.
Like, yeah, come on out. We got something for you.
Oh, baby, I was ready for
condo and a new wardrobe. It's called Orange Jumpsuit and Silver Bracelet.
I'm not gonna lie. I was waiting for the CIA to just drag him out the front door. I was
by his collar, just drag him. Like, come here.
He was like, I'm not leaving. I'm like, you've never been evicted before, okay? But the people in the real world, we've experienced those evictions, and we be sitting across the street just like
Bibby, can we talk about our new president, President Joe Biden, aka Uncle Joe?
Uncle Joe
came. One of his slick moves, because I thought, like, that's my president, bro. I said, listen here, because they were questioning him about, when Captain Orange was talking about, he was like, I'm not bothered.
Absolutely.
A whole lot of words. He said if he can't come, if he won't walk out, we'll bring him out. I said,
exactly.
Gangster.
And that's what I was waiting on. That's what I was waiting on. I was like, wait a minute.
That's my boy.
And the coldest person in this whole thing was Melania. Melania was ready to go. She was ready to go 4 years ago. Because let me tell you, she was looking for a sugar daddy, and she sat up there and just got roped up into this. Every time you saw her, didn't it seem like she was just pissed off and didn't want to be at every occasion?
I kept telling you, I could watch them when they're together. I said, because every time he would reach for her, she would yank her hand back.
She couldn't stand him.
I said, because that's why I said, maybe this is business. She kept trying to remind me, business. We ain't in this romantic stuff. Don't touch me. I told you.
She went in for
I'm start finding you.
She went in for a sugar daddy and had a job.
Right. And then when they was leaving the White House for the last time, she just carried on. She looked back at him like, and just walked off. I said, "Oh no!" I screamed. "Oh!" She's like, "Okay, it's over. Make sure that check is direct deposited into my account." Thank you.
Child, look, they left that White House at 9 o'clock. At 9:25, the divorce papers was drawn up. You watch.
Shoot, 9:15.
Not
9:05.
She had her lawyers on the phone. Billy, you get them papers.
Like, hey, you ready, right? You can go ahead and just email them to them. They can print it out. I don't care. Just go ahead and email it to them.
But can we talk about how Uncle Joe clocked in and actually went to work?
Okay, let's go here because we got a little bit more time.
Oh, we got time today.
And before I go any further, D, we have to say you'll come back to the show. You have to come back.
Absolutely.
You heard it here. She said it. She can't take it back. She right here. So, but listen, the way that Uncle Joe and Auntie Mamala, aka to the black queens, the black women,
Madam BP, Madam BP,
BP in this piece. The way that they have come and just put an automatic shutdown on stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
And just rearrange and, like you said, went to work. The grind is on. It actually was on before they even got into office.
Oh, yeah. They had.
I mean, because remember when Captain Orange was talking about, oh, we have a plan. That thing was 2 pages. Biden said, we have a plan. That thing was a book.
Oh, absolutely.
So it was just like, oh, okay, yeah. Reality and bullshit. Okay. Yeah.
Well, and there was a little bit of controversy because the first thing that Uncle Joe did when he came in was shut down the DPL, the oil
Yeah.
which I was torn at first. Not gonna lie, I was torn
Yeah.
at first. But at
Mhm.
the end of the day, I have to stand with my indigenous community. You do not go
Yes.
back on a treaty. And at
Yes.
the end of the day, you're drilling
Mhm.
through these people's sovereign land that is documented,
It
their
belongs to
land.
them.
It
Yeah.
belongs to them.
Mhm.
So then we had to go through, oh, Biden's been in office for 2 days and 3,000 jobs are already in jeopardy. Well, the those jobs shouldn't have been in existence in the first place, because one,
Period.
you don't run up in somebody's house and then tell them you're going to renovate their bathroom and give them no say in how that goes. These people
And I'm not going
are
to use the towel that you wanted.
exactly like our indigenous brothers and sisters were, their water was threatened.
Yes.
They had sacred it was sacred burial grounds that they
Sacred
were
grounds.
digging
Yeah.
through.
Sacred grounds.
And there
Yeah.
was one video that I had seen where these oil workers had dug up, a pipeline,
Mm-hmm.
and they had dug up remains, these people's, you know what I'm saying, remains.
Right. Right.
And instead of being respectful, they made an entire video making fun of the fact that they had dug up these remains. It was the most disgusting display of anything that I've ever seen in
Heartbreaking.
my life. And I saw that video before, we had found out that, Uncle Joe went in and did his thing. And I was like, wow, this is terrible. And I remember thinking, like, I hope one of the first things he does is stop this. And I'll be damned, the first thing he did was stop it.
Right.
But it's like,
literally,
at the end of the day, you signed a treaty with these people, and then I felt like it was like the most ridiculous display of injustice ever when that entire
talk
plan
about
was
gutter snipe. Yeah.
absolutely.
These last 4 years,
Oh
gutter
man!
snipe.
Oh my gosh! And then
Yeah.
when I tell you Uncle Joe came in and snatched that back,
Right. Smash wigs
like,
with all y'all. Because why? He's for the American people.
absolutely,
Humanity, respect for
yeah.
mankind.
And just like I was having this conversation with my sister the other day, and because I told her, I was like, there are some things that I do lean a little left on. I'm an independent. I'm not a Democrat. I'm an independent. And there's things that I just lean a little left on. There are, there are things that as a human being that I'm going to be right all day until I die. Healthcare, education, and taking care of
housing and
our
all those
earth.
things.
Like
Yeah.
you can't, I can't deviate from those tasks, because at
Right.
the end of the day, like I said, we're leaving this place to generations behind us, and I just can't deviate,
Yes.
So, and my sister's response, and she was so deadpan, she was like, I don't think you are even a good human being if you don't recognize those, you know what I'm saying, if you don't lean to the left with those things.
True.
And recognize that these are things. So when Joe, oh my God, Uncle Joe, when Uncle Joe reversed that what is it called? Fapping.
Yes.
I was elated. Like, you know what I'm saying? If you don't do, in fact, Uncle Joe, if you clock out for lunch and take like a year lunch,
that part,
I wouldn't even be mad. I wouldn't even be mad.
I mean, because how about this? Even before, on the day of the inauguration, both he and Kamala were busy making, things happen in between events, working on the grind. I'm like, see, that's what I'm talking about. Handle business.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's refreshing. It's almost eerie because these last 4 years have been so off.
Oh, we've taken a nightmare pill. We took a nightmare pill. Yeah.
Right. Did he just sign something that'll help the American people? Oh. Right. And it's not just about politics. Oh, okay. That works.
I feel what you're saying when you said it's almost eerie that humanity has been brought back into it, because we've been so, deprived of humanity for the past 4 years. I honestly haven't heard anything but about money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I haven't
Literally.
heard about any kind of humanity. It's always been about money. It's always been about power. And let's
Even
not
though, side
even
note, Uncle Joe, you can go ahead and send that stimulus out. I'm just saying, we love
look.
you, we got you, bro. But don't send that stimulus.
Go ahead,
Yeah,
send
all
that
right.
stimulus. I was trying to get it during the insurrection. I was like, you know what? If y'all gonna do this, bring me my
Right.
stimulus check back with you, sitting on the desk. You know what I'm
Run,
saying?
run me
But
that. Run me
but
that.
we've been without that humanity for so long that it felt a little eerie to have someone. It's almost like an abused dog. They've been abused for so long, and then they find somebody that actually wants to love them, and they're suspicious of that love.
Right.
Which is why we are here to hold him accountable. You didn't see us making all these flags. You didn't see us wearing these stupid hats and t-shirts and emojis and all this. We are now here to hold him accountable.
Have to
you know what I'm saying, to do what he said he was going to do.
exactly,
and that is the difference between a doo-doo smearer and you know what I'm saying, someone who votes for humanity.
I'm telling you, you're speaking the truth. Listen, D, I have thoroughly enjoyed you. I do not want this to stop. That's why you have to come back.
Absolutely.
But before I let you go, we do understand that you have merch.
I do.
Would you share the website with us and tell them what the merch you have?
I do. The website is teespring.com/stores/the amazing D253-3. I don't know how many of the amazing D253s are out there, but mine is -3. So most definitely go on and get you a coffee mug. And you know what? If you're on TikTok, tag me and sip with me.
Hey, also, I made a video today and tagged D in it on TikTok.
Did you?
Yes, I did.
You edit later.
So, yes, indeed. So give us one thing that you do for D, when it comes to mental health. What are one of the things that you do as therapy for you?
Well, my therapy comes in a very I align more with the spiritual.
Okay.
I have my black tourmaline. I'm sure you see. I wear this all the time.
Awesome.
Black tourmaline is for protection. I recommend it to anybody. I also meditate.
Yes.
Meditate. I just got introduced to meditation about a year ago, and you know what? I'm still learning. I'm in no way an expert, but you can't read as much as I do and protect your energy. So you know what I'm saying? So I recommend meditation is the most amazing. It's mental exercise,
awesome.
And at the end of the day, you ground yourself. Also, everything that I do, you don't have to buy anything. You don't have to, just take a break, turn everything off, go get into nature. Read a book. You know what I'm saying? Everything that I do to protect myself and my spirit are just basic things that you can do. But I do recommend meditation. I meditate every day. Set aside time, do breathing exercises, and you will be shocked. I was, a year ago, I was most dealing with a bleeding disorder. And just through aligning my chakras and aligning myself, I haven't had a problem since. My levels are.
I'm a firm believer in that, because even coming from a religious background, one of the things I still hold, which I know is still powerful and true, is prayer. The power in prayer.
Absolutely.
And praying to God, and also meditation is something I do as well, because it helps you tap in.
Absolutely. Yes.
And also, because I was raised around the older generation, so I was taught how to learn how to shut this, open these and these, and just be still. Quiet your spirit down.
Absolutely.
Because then you could hear, you could see, you could feel when there's a shift, or if you need to be moving, or if you just need to be still.
Absolutely.
So
and listen to yourself. Listen to yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people are into, let me go seek out. Your purpose is within you. And if you just sit down and shut up,
that part,
you'll get that purpose.
Have cocktails and hush your mouth. Right. D, it's been an ultimate pleasure. You are more powerful than you know. I mean, I promise you, you are a beacon of light. Thank you, and we affirm you, and we look forward to seeing you very soon.
Absolutely. Yay. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Love and peace and blessings to you. Just Absolutely amazing. Um, what can I say? This is one of those shows you can take something home with you tonight. Um, two things I want to share with you before we end tonight's show. Of course, you know, I am one who has been gifted by God to encourage and to uplift. So, once again, I would want to remind you that you are extremely necessary. Your existence on this earth is necessary. You're needed just not just for the things you give, but just you. You're of exceeding value. You're priceless, gifted beyond me, powerful beyond. God has blessed and enriched you with something that no man can take away. What is that? That's love. Yeah. Even all the things you've been through, you still have the power to love. And where does love begin? Love begins with you. I challenge you today, this evening, for the rest of this year, make it a life habit and a lifestyle of loving yourself. Why? Because you're worthy of love. Everything that man said that you couldn't have, you can have it. No one can stop you. You are everything that you have been dreaming about. That's already you. All you're doing is going through the process to get to that place. Because no one can be a CEO over a company and not know anything, not go through some experiences and some bumps in the road. Everything that you're dealing with, all of us collectively as well as individually, everything is taking you right there. Not only is life for the living, but life is for you. It was created for you. Take it by the horns and ride it all the way through. To those of you who, even words that I just confessed and affirmed you with, seem not to reach. Seems like you just can't catch a break. Know that you're not alone. There's someone waiting just for you. Call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800 273 8255. Once again, that's the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800 273 8255. And also, let us not forget www.nami.org. That's www.nami.org. Once again, your mental wellness is valuable, and we must do those positive things to sustain. Why? Because you're worth it. Priceless. Undefeated. My name is Damian Michael Williams, and you're watching Working It Out with Damian Michael. And don't forget, last but not least, wear your mask. Do your part. Wear your mask. Protect yourself and somebody else. Till next time, this is Damian Michael with Working It Out with Damian Michael. And I will see you soon.